Well, now, for the better part of this 2024, by the way, it's like 2 or 3 months ago, I've been doing research on the best areas to invest on this year. And by the way, guess what? Here with me on this video, I'm going to share with you top 3 best investments that you can act or you can invest on right now. Because I always receive these questions from you guys like, hey, Joseph, you know what? I want to invest. Which one would you recommend? Which one are the best? Which one actually are showing some, sort of, a promising thing or those kind of things? Guess what? Today, I'm going to share with you 3 top best investments that you can pick right now. And guess what? The third one is the best as of now. And I'm going to justify that with you. Let's get in the business. And by the way, before you even do that, guess what? If you're watching me for the first time, my name is Joseph. I talk about investments, I talk about money and anything related to exactly that. If you don't want to miss any of my good videos, now this is the high time to hit that subscription button. That way you're going to be notified whenever I upload a new good video. Make sure that you like this video. By the way, all those things does not cost you anything. And also comment down below, tell me what you think. All right, let's get into the business, okay? When we talk about investments, we don't waste time. Now, here let's talk about the investment number 1 that is actually doing good. And by the way, this is an investment that I always talk about each and every time, and I'm gonna repeat it again and again and again and again, okay? And this investment, if you have never invested before, you can start with this one. It is not complicated. By the way, immediately after watching this video, you can go ahead and open an account. You can do this online. You can go ahead and visit these people physically, and you can be able to open an account. Another thing, this type of investment that I'm about to share with you here does not require like a huge amount of money. $1, $2, $3, $5, $10, whatever, you can be able to get started. So this 2024, you're not supposed to have excuses and saying, hey, I cannot be able to invest in what have you. What am I talking about? You guessed it right. That's an MMF. That is a money market fund. See, money market fund, you know why I'm telling you? For example, right now I'm making this video on March 2024, the tail end of the March of 2024. And I'm telling you, last year around September, let's talk of August, September, October, around there, the money market fund returns were ranging from 7% all the way to something like 10%. Actually, it was a miracle to find a company that is giving you a return of 11%. Guess what happens now? All the way from October, that's like 4 or 5 months ago, okay? Let's talk of 4, 5, 6 months ago, okay? Guess what? We are talking about 14%. We are talking about all the way, some companies are even giving you 17%. Can you imagine that? Within that short period of time, Kenyan's money market fund, or we can call them the unit trust, are giving you that kind of return. So what does that tell you? It tells you like, hey, we are seeing some green light as far as the economies are concerned and all those kind of things. Remember one thing, this kind of rates of 7 to 10% was registered after we experienced a COVID-19, not only in Kenya, but globally. So the returns tend to went down. And I always tell people, the moment you realize that the returns are down, the performance of many of the companies are down, especially when we face such a crisis like we had like in 2008, like then we had in the 2020, 21, 22, because of the COVID-19 and what have you, they were to revamp back. And those were the best moments to actually get yourself into these investments. But you know what? The problem with it that you listen to people who are paranoid, people who don't want you to invest. You know, they just sell fear and all those kind of things. Okay, now here we are. The money market fund is giving you a return of 14 to 17%. And I know you people watching this from Africa, our great continent, you may not see or think like this is a big deal. Go to those developed countries. You find those MMFs are giving you like 7%, 8%, 9%. And if you get 10%, I'm telling you that's a miracle. We are talking about 14% all the way to 17%. Can you imagine? You have just a million bob somewhere, you have 100K somewhere, you have 50K somewhere, you have 10K, 5, 3, 2, 1, whatever that amount of money you have it. Perhaps you do not have a plan of starting a business immediately, or maybe you want to buy an asset somewhere, maybe you want to get yourself into, building real estate and what have you. The money is just idle in a bank, and some people are benefiting out of your money. So why don't you get that money, put it in that money market fund account, and guess what? This thing gives you interest each and every day. I repeat, so once you invest in these areas, what happens to your money is actually multiplies each and every day. You can literally see your money adding up. We say a money market fund, the interest is actually credited daily, and guess what happens? It is payable monthly, and the return that you're usually given is with respect to a certain percentage, which always is per annum. That's quite an interesting areas. The only thing that you need to have for you to get started on these investments, you need to have 3 documents. That's a KRA pin, you need a passport photo, okay, and the last thing you need as far as joining these investments, you need to have yourself an ID. All right, you need to have those documents for you to get started on this money market fund investment. It is not complicated. Perhaps midway, if you would like to get a specialized information, or should I call it like how premium information about how do you get started on MMF and what have you, my number is always on the description of this specific video. You can go ahead and grab that number of mine, give me a call, or text me, or shoot me an email. I'll be able to take you through step by step on what you're supposed to do. And if you're watching this from diaspora and you think like, hey, guess what? That is reserved for people who are just within home. No, you can invest it and be like, okay, Joseph, you're making this content, you're referring to Kenyans. Well, no, even your countries, we have this unit trust. We have these money market funds. Go ask from your institutions, do you have money market fund? Perhaps they call it a different name, but the fact remains these are money market funds, and you can be able to pick it up and be able to invest. It is not complicated. It's just a click of buttons. You get started. And again, what I'm saying is not complicated. Obviously, when you're filling in documentation, obviously you need to front some documentation, because it's an investment whereby requires like adherence to rules and regulations for the sake of your money and safeguard your cash. Okay, now we go to the investment number 2 that I regard it as safe, and that I regard it as great investment as of now. Guess what? Right now, as we speak, there is something called bills and bonds, treasury bills and bonds. This is not only applicable in Kenya. Any country on earth, I believe you guys, you have money. You have what we call the treasury bills and treasury bonds. This is literally lending government your cash. For example, right now, as we speak, the government of Kenya has opened, there is something called tap sale. There is a tap sale, okay? Meaning the existing or the existed bonds, they have been reopened. Meaning the government is saying, now, guess what? Yeah, we did float these bonds and we acquired a certain amount of money. We are opening them for you guys to reinvest again if perhaps you missed it. That's what we call the tap sale, okay? Instead of getting this bond or bill from the secondary market, you can get it from the primary market within the duration of this tap sale. And I think it is closing on 4th of April. I'm making this video at around 31st of March, actually the last month of March. All right, so the point is this. See, they're seeking close to, actually I think it's actually 65 billion Kenyan shillings, okay? Well, 65 billion Kenyan shillings, I think that's like anyway, I don't want to go to the specificities of how many in terms of dollars. The fact remains it's 65 billion Kenyan shillings, okay? I think it's like $65 million. I don't know, around there. So the point is this, we can always correct me on that. So anyway, the point is this now. See, if this is an area where you can actually go ahead and deposit and invest your money. For example, these FXDs that you have, we are calling them FXDs. FXDs mean like fixed deposit treasury bonds. And now what happens is they give you a return. Right now, as we speak in Kenya, the returns are close to, let's talk of 16.7% all the way to 18.4% with the case regard of the one that you had like a month ago, which is called the IFB. Okay, so now the point is this. Can you imagine this 16.7 to 18%? And maybe this one can explain why these people or where we're investing the money market fund, the interest rate is actually going high. Why? Because obviously some of this money market fund, and actually most of this money market fund, they reinvest the money that you have invested with them on these treasury bills and treasury bonds. So then that tells you that, hey, guess what? These guys are actually investing in these areas, and that's why they have this explanation of why we have high returns on this or money market fund and what have you. It does not mean that exclusively money market fund they invest on bills. No, they are supposed to invest in different areas which are secure, like commercial paper, the FDS, that's the fixed deposits, likes of the bills, likes of the bonds, and all those kind of areas whereby people's money are actually safe and secured. Not, they cannot just take your money and go and invest in areas like, I don't know, rentals, I don't know, farming and what have you. They are not required to do that, because that is exposing people's cash at risk, and people can lose it. And then, you can just imagine what can happen if you lose people's money. So anyway, the point is, this is an area you can be able to invest. For this one, I may agree with you. You may require like a little bit of a high amount of money, because when you're talking about bills, you require like a minimum of, not even like a minimum. When you're talking about bills, you require a minimum of 100,000. So this is bills. Bills, you require a minimum of 100K, and bonds, you require to have a minimum of 50K for you to invest. This one, in terms of Kenyan shillings, this one is like $1,000. This one is like $1,000, and this one is like $500 or something or sort. So anyway, give or take. So the point is, this one, you may say, hey, Joseph, I may not have that amount of money for now. But anyway, if you do not have this is what we do. You can pick MMF, you accumulate money on the MMF. Once you reach this particular target, then you can actually shift your money from MMF, and then you go grab that a little bit of high interest. Did you just get what I'm saying? Because you may not have the 100k as of now, you may not have the 50k as of now, but with MMF you can invest as low as 100 bob. You can invest as 100 shilling, and then you can keep on adding value to that amount of money, cumulatively compounding it. Maybe say after a year or two or something, then you can get like this amount of money, and then you can jump it into what? You can put it into bonds and bills, and you can be able to, expose yourself to earning a little bit of higher interest. That is exactly how we actually invest, and we can be able to grow ourselves. And guess what? Now we go to the last one, which I said is the best as of now. And it is true. I mean it. I mean it. And after this video, I want you to go ahead and check how the performance are. And you know what I'm talking about, the third one? See, the second one was about T-bills. Let me just write it here for the sake of those who would like to follow it up. And bonds, okay? And the last one here, we are talking about stocks. Stocks, you can call them shares. Believe you not, we have a lot of promising in terms of promising returns and performance of the companies under the Nairobi Securities Exchange. I'm going to explain this. Last year, Nairobi Securities Exchange was voted as the worst performing stock exchange on earth, not in Africa. I repeat, Nairobi Securities Exchange, despite it being the fourth biggest exchange in Africa, was actually voted as the worst performing exchange. Why? Because a lot of the foreign investors withdrew from the exchange, fearing like Kenya might default the loan that we had taken, call it the Eurobond that is due on June this year and what have you. But guess what just happens now? And many other factors. That's not just a single factor, but many other factors. The shilling was depreciating, and then they were promised high returns in the US. So a lot of the things. I don't want to go to the economics and what have you. So the point is this. Shares in the stocks right now, as we speak, they're picking up. For example, Kenya has been picked by one of the biggest companies on earth called the BlackRock. BlackRock is actually the one manages over, and you can go check this one out, okay? 9.1 trillion US dollars. Yo, I'm telling you, that's a huge amount of money. It's called BlackRock. See, BlackRock showed interest in investing in Nairobi Securities Exchange. So that means that the foreign investors now are building back the confidence and what have you. Perhaps this explains why some of those companies inside that Nairobi Securities Exchange are actually exponentially going high. The green and green and green out there. For example, I don't want to mention some companies here. I have a witness of several of them. The share price shift from 13 shilling, all the way to 19 shillings. Some shift from 24 shillings all the way to 32 shillings. And many others are actually performing good. And there is we are experiencing what we call a bull market. For example, before this happens, we had a bear market when people or the foreign investors withdrew from this specific place. And by the way, some few days, depends on when you watch this video. Again, I said I'm making this video on March of 29th, or rather 31st. So therefore, some 2 or 3 days, actually Nairobi Securities registered like the highest turnover. Should I call it like a turnover or return or something of sort, like it was billions of money. Then it means that people are building back. And right now, as we speak, it's now being voted as the best performing stock exchange as we speak right now. It's just the same as the shilling. Shilling last year, the Kenyan shilling, in Kenya we use shillings, okay? So the Kenyan shillings vis-a-vis the dollar was actually voted as the worst performing currency out there, okay? Not only Kenyan shillings against the dollar, but any other currencies. Right now, as we speak, it is on top of the best performing currencies right now, because Kenyan shillings actually has gained close to 20% within a period of like a month or two or something of sort. Therefore, what does it tell you? It tells you like the stocks and share industry is actually picking up, and it's an area that you can pick it up and be able to invest. And I don't know what, guys. I know you guys, you're waiting until these shares reach to a certain particular point, they become a bit expensive. Now you start complaining. And when they were low, I was singing here each and every time. Some of you guys were telling me, Joseph, why are you repeating yourself? Why are you saying the same thing like continuously? Because I was saying an idea of, you know what, guys, this is the best time to buy these shares. Go ahead and pick it up. Whenever people are complaining and people are saying like it's not the best, now that is the best time. And if you want to be successful in life, just check what majority are doing and go do totally different. When people see shares are going down, people say, hey, you know what, shares are going down, we'd rather sell these shares and what have you. And there you are, you may be proper. Perhaps if you had bought your shares, you sold your shares. Right now shares are revamping back, they are going high and all those kind of things. Some people who have good financial muscle investing billions of money right now, I'm telling you, they're making a huge amount of money in terms of returns. So what are you waiting, guys? We are not yet to a point whereby we can say we are at the saturation. All right, We cannot really say that. You can go ahead and pick it up, and that's why I voted it as the best area where you can pick it up as an investment. But this is my disclaimer. Obviously, at all the time, engage your financial advisor whenever you want to invest, because investing in stock and shares, it's volatile, and the volatility means it can actually go high or go low, and it means that your money can be at risk if you get into it just blindly, just because somebody said it. You never did any research. It's good to consult your financial advisor. It is also good to make sure that at least you don't put your money in one basket. And I'm not saying you go to your bank, withdraw everything that you have in your fixed account for the sake of your kids, the future, and everything, the mortgage. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying when it comes to investment, go check your financial advisor, and you can be able to talk to them or him or her, and then explain what you're looking for in terms of getting, and then you can be able to determine how much you can put it out there in terms of investments. You're supposed to be smart when it comes to this investment. Don't just blindly go pick and withdraw everything, put it out there. No, come on. And if you'd like to have a conversation with me, instead of now giving a generalized information, I can be able to listen to you in terms of your income. Do you have asset, you don't have the cash flow, or do you have the cash flow, you do not have the asset? And what type of asset do you have? This, the hard or the soft? And how is you? Are you okay? I mean, like, I have to listen to you before I say, hey, shares will fit you, or hey, bills will fit you, money market fund will fit you, share or stocks or rates or whatever. I have to listen first so that I can give you that what is appropriate for you, that you can be able to pick it out there. Or you can pick any other financial advisor that you guys are comfortable with. But the point is this: make sure that you always make an attempt of doing the research and following up, so that at least by the time you're making a decision, you're making an informed decision. Anyway, guys, guess what? If you'd like to have a conversation with me, never forget to remember that my number is always on the description of this specific video. Go pick it up, shoot me a call, and then from there we can start it up and we can have a discussion. For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one.